Ever wondered why November's full moon is called the Beaver Moon? Well, it's a fascinating story that begins with the tradition of naming moons. You see, the full moons we see throughout the year aren't just random celestial events. Each one carries a distinct title, bestowed upon it based on seasonal changes and cultural traditions. And these names, my friends, are as varied and intriguing as the lunar spectacles themselves. Take for instance the harvest moon of September, which marks the end of the harvest season, or the pink moon in April, named after the blooming pink wildflowers, and not, disappointingly, its color. Now, as we approach the end of the year, we find ourselves under the glow of the November full moon, known by several names such as the moon before Yule, the frost moon, and yes, the Beaver Moon. So the Beaver Moon, intriguing, right? But where does it get its name from? Let's dive into that. The Beaver Moon has a fascinating history tied to both nature and human activity. The name Beaver Moon has an intriguing origin story that takes us back to the times when Native American tribes set their calendars by the moons. This particular full moon, occurring in the late autumn, signaled a time when beavers would be actively preparing for the winter. Just as beavers are busy building their lodges and dams, so were the tribes, setting their beaver traps before the swamps froze, to ensure a supply of warm winter furs. This is how the November full moon got its moniker, the Beaver Moon. Now, if you're wondering whether this moon has anything to do with giant spacefaring beavers, I'm afraid you're out of luck. The name is a nod to the terrestrial activity of these industrious creatures, rather than any lunar rodent shenanigans. But don't let that dampen your spirits. The Beaver Moon has other aliases that are equally captivating. Another name for this moon is the Frost Moon, a title that paints a vivid picture of the season. As the last leaves fall and the first frosts start to coat the ground, the frost moon rises in the sky, casting a silvery light on the frosty earth below. It's a reminder of the transition from autumn's colorful display to winter's stark beauty. In some cultures, it's also known as the moon before Yule, a reference to the ancient midwinter festival celebrated by Germanic peoples. This name signifies the moon's position in the lunar calendar, appearing just before the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year. So, there you have it. The Beaver Moon isn't about cosmic rodents, but a nod to the activities of earthly ones during this time of year. And whether you call it the Beaver Moon, the Frost Moon, or the moon before Yule, it's a celestial spectacle that's not to be missed. Now that we know the story behind the name, when exactly can we catch this busy Beaver Moon? Well, the Beaver Moon usually struts its stuff for 3 days, from Saturday night to Tuesday morning, and the most enchanting moment? That's the peak illumination, which happens on Monday morning. Now you might be thinking, 4:16 a.m., that's way past my bedtime. But trust me, the celestial spectacle is worth the early rise or late night stay. Now for those of you who want to take your moon-gazing game to the next level, grab those binoculars or dust off that telescope. You see, the Beaver Moon isn't just a bright dot in the sky, it's a world of its own, full of impact craters, mountain ridges, and crater chains. Using binoculars or a telescope, you can get up close and personal with these lunar features. So, mark your calendars and set your alarms to catch this celestial spectacle. But beyond its name and viewing times, what significance does the Beaver Moon hold, you might ask? Well, it's a time of communication and understanding, a period that fosters productive energy. As the frost begins to settle, the Beaver Moon in Gemini brings about a turning point. It's a celestial nudge to prioritize and focus our energy, to seek common ground and find understanding. Interestingly, the Beaver Moon also coincides with the alignment of Neptune and Pluto. This celestial occurrence has a tendency to spark discussions about collective ideals. It's a time when we look up at the night sky and find ourselves contemplating not just the stars, but our place among them. Whether it's in relation to politics or the upcoming election cycle, this alignment tends to bring about a sense of unity, of shared dreams and goals. It's a reminder that like the beavers preparing for winter, we too can be industrious and work towards our collective future. The Beaver Moon isn't just a sight to behold, it's a celestial event that stirs up energy, conversations, and maybe even a bit of beaver-like industriousness in all of us.